Now we are talking about the more juicier side of the draw, I guess. More hard to call results, fixtures in this one, right? So let's start. Let's start with the lower key one. Okay, let's start with Morocco versus Portugal. First off, hats off to Morocco. Nobody called them dark horses going into this tournament.
Not even close.
And of all the teams that have progressed so far, I believe Morocco, England, and Croatia are the only unbeaten teams heading into the quarterfinals of this tournament, which is absolutely remarkable when you consider it. Like England keeping some very esteemed company. I don't know what this means for England going forwards.
It's not coming home. It is not coming home.
But Spain, despite practicing 1,000 penalties in their practice lead up to the Morocco game, failed to score even a single one. And Morocco find themselves facing up against a Portugal team that dropped Cristiano Ronaldo and went on to score 6 goals against Switzerland. I mean, I call this game in favor of Switzerland. I thought Switzerland really had what it takes. Clearly, Portugal have proven themselves to be way superior without Ronaldo starting and leading the line for them. So I don't know what to think when it comes to Morocco versus Portugal. What are your thoughts?
Come on, Morocco. Time to be giant killers again. Time to do the real deal. I'm biasing myself. It's Morocco for me, but I know Portugal can easily put an end to Morocco's fairy tale. And their players seem to have come up to form at the right times. And even without Cristiano, they seem to show that they can score a huge number of goals. So I think this favor is tipped in towards Portugal and Morocco being the underdogs. And maybe this is where their train stops. Maybe this is where Morocco have to depart the World Cup train.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I feel like it kind of worked in Morocco's favor in that Spain game where Spain were really trying to create that very perfect opportunity, which really allowed Morocco to defend. Portugal are not going to be that intricate. They're just going to really hoof the ball into the box and
They are
hope for a
far too
good shot.
direct. They are far too
Exactly,
direct.
which probably doesn't bode super well for Morocco. So they will have to make the most of those counter-attacking opportunities that they get. Ziyech probably going to have an incredible game. Again, going to have to rely on the likes of Amrabat and El Nesri in that attack as well. Again, it doesn't bode well for Morocco that they ended up going into extra time 0-0 and winning on penalties, because this Portugal team, especially now, if they choose to bench Ronaldo for the next round as well, look like they have lots and lots of goals in them. So yeah, I think as well that this Portugal team is just going to be too good for Morocco, especially with the confidence that they build in beating a really good Switzerland team. Let's not forget, this is the same Switzerland team that beat France at the Euros last year and took Spain to the penalties, I believe, right? Now let's move on to the hot topic one, right? France versus England. You have a horse in this race, so I know where your
100%.
loyalties lie.
100%.
But
My best.
let me ask you a trickier question. Like, if you were England, like what is the one weakness in France that you would exploit, right? What I want to ask you from that point of view.
Looks probably like their midfield, but again, you can't really poke holes in France. I mean, you can, but you can't. Look at their lineup. It seems like they just have everyone doing their job perfectly well. I mean, the consistency is out there for everyone to see. Yeah, maybe you might suspect Rabiot being caught out of position or even their left flank, but I don't see any glaring holes. I think England will have to not rely on individual magic. They might just have to do something collectively better. This is going to be a very tough game for Declan Rice, for whoever is the centre back pairing, and whoever is tasked with marking Mbappe, because hey, if he's going to drag two players together, the rest of that squad is going to kill them. And Griezmann has been hitting form, although he's not being noticed. He's just orchestrating play way too well right now.
Yeah, I mean, great point. I think more, I mean, Mbappe is probably the standout player, but I think Griezmann is probably the most important player in this France team right now, really linking that, the back line and the attack. And I think more than anybody else, he should be the focus of that England midfield to see how they can probably keep Griezmann quiet, because that will automatically translate into keeping Mbappe a bit more calmer. And you're right. Like it's going to be really hard. I think Kyle Walker is probably the favorite to start to keep Mbappe in check.
He has the pace. He at least
Exactly.
has
Yeah.
the pace.
And I think he's going to have to do the same thing where he starts a very workman-like midfield, right, with Rice, Henderson, and Bellingham, so that he can really crowd that defense as much as possible. I believe Stones went off injured, so if he's not going to be able to play in that game, that's going to be big problems. I mean, Southgate may have to do something as extreme as going to a back three in that situation, which again, I don't know, maybe sacrificing a lot of their attack to go into the defense. For me, I think Jules Koundé on that right hand side of that French defense is probably the weakest link, just because he's not a natural right back. And if they get a dribbler alongside him, maybe Sterling, Sterling is not going to be with the team again.
Yeah, he's not there.
But maybe someone like Rashford who can actually run in behind on that flank. Maybe that's an option, or maybe he relies on Foden being skilled enough to dribble past someone like him. That
I'm just thinking it's going to be Saka doing something more magical.
I would not be surprised. Yeah,
maybe him turning up, just like cutting through the center, being that playing that number 10 role, dragging a player out, laying that ball over to Harry Kane, and you know the rest. If there's a ball to Harry Kane, that guy will finish.
And that is true though, right? Because they attack a lot through their left hand side, France, in terms of like their wing play. Of course, Mbappe on that side as well. So Saka will. It's going to be interesting to see whether he gives Saka more of a defensive role, or whether he says, okay, well, they're going to try to attack. So what your job is going to be is to pin Theo Hernandez down on that left side of that French defense. This is going to be tactical, and I feel like this is really up Southgate's alley, because he has shown throughout like the last World Cup and the Euros that he is not necessarily somebody who relies on individual talent. He relies on a more solid team performance as a whole. But I mean, when you have players like Mbappe on the field, it's really hard to stop that, right? I mean, Pickford coming in very good form, 3 clean sheets, versus Lloris, who always has a howler in him.
A royal howler in him. Every single game.
So I'm going to make another bold prediction. I think England are actually going to squeak this result through. It's going to leave a very, very frustrated France side. But I think England might just have what it takes to get past this France team.
Good for you. I'm not moving my favorites. I can't realign my favorites just for...
No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. But yeah, let us know who you think is going to go through. England versus France, the big ticket item, and Portugal versus Morocco. Again, the underdogs of the tournament, both teams in many ways, right? And yeah, please like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. And let us know after the predictions, after the matches as well. Come back and comment whether we got things right or wrong. Like, who knows, right? And we will see you guys next time.